Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's the Rebel Crows with your host, Athena Silver.
Hey, guys. I'm Anja River.
Tonight, we are going to mix it up a little bit, and we're going to take you guys on a long, beautiful journey down my spiritual path and Anja River's spiritual path. We're going to be talking about how we got to where we are on our spiritual journeys. And I know a lot of this dialogue is going to hit home with a lot of people because we didn't just start off, ready-made. It took us a long time to get here. We've had a lot of different experiences. Her and I have practiced many different traditions and spiritual paths, just trying on hats and seeing which one fits.
Yeah.
So, and that's pertinent to everybody's journey to finding themselves. So why don't you start us off, Anja? Tell us a little bit about how you got into the spiritual game.
Okay. It's so close to me, so it's a little hard, to put it all together in words that, might not make sense or you always want to bring the best information possible. So I think, when I think about when I think back, when I think overarching in my life, I got a lot from my early years with my mom. She was honestly, she was so prophetic, some of the things that she knew way back when. And I just, we started off when we were on this, starting off this journey together through life. And, it felt like she was my teacher in so many ways, but she had this, dichotomy going on with this witch past and then, the Christianity. Nothing wrong with Christianity at all, but, there was some, what's the word I'm thinking of? There was discord, there was disharmony.
Yeah.
And especially in my upbringing in the spiritual, in the spiritual way. So it's like she gave me a puzzle that, it was kind of just jumbled up and then got to put it together for myself, so yeah.
It's tough. No, I hear what you mean.
It's so hard to explain.
I've had similar feelings and situations surrounding Christianity. My mother, when she was young, she had me kind of young, and she was finding herself. And, as children, we go along, on the ride of life with our parents,
Especially our mothers. Yeah.
Yeah. And she had, she was trying different factions of the Christian faith. And at one point she had us in, I think it was a Pentecostal based Christian faction. And I just remember sitting there as a child listening to, the sermons and going, something doesn't feel right here. This does not resonate with me. This is not what makes my heart sing. This isn't where I belong. And I was kind of stuck in that situation because she brought us in, they had like a Catholic school set up there and, enrolled us. And I remember the first couple of weeks that I was there, I really felt boxed in because I felt like I didn't belong there. I felt forced into it. And it always made it very hard for me to accept, what I'm being told if I don't believe it. And you know what? I credit them for sending me in the direction that I eventually took, because it showed me that the world is a really big place and there is a lot of options and nobody definitively knows who's exactly right.
Yeah. And that's exactly, you said it so beautifully, because I feel like since going on this spiritual journey, we're on a journey from the time we're born, right? So this is just, all of this is just one way of expressing a quest for knowledge, a quest for, a deeper version of humanity that you didn't have access to before. And so, I think what was wonderful about growing up in the Christian faith was that there's so much beauty in it and there's so much that you can take forward. So I'm not in the church anymore,
Yeah.
but I carry that forward, and I get to marry that with all these other things that I've done and feel and practice, and it's so in that way, it's like, you're still using everything that you've learned, everything, even the stuff that maybe like didn't quite fit perfectly,
Yeah. It has its uses.
Yeah. And I think it's all good, like that's one thing that,
but there is a drawback in certain situations, because I definitely experienced a drawback going to, I wound up going to like 2 Catholic schools. I was a rebellious child. You know what it is I knew who I was from a very young age. So anytime anybody tried to tell me differently, I was like, okay, it's anarchy in here.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to tell me where, like, what or who I am. I already came out ready-made. But it's just when I went to these schools, I got the darker side of that particular faith. And I felt that in this particular place, there was a lot of negativity, a lot of judgment. They did not accept me because I did not grow up in that faith. My mom was kind of one of those bounce around kind of believers. She would go to this place, hang out here for a few weeks, go to another place. I don't really feel like she ever found the answer she was looking for. But that seeker mentality was placed in me because I was put in this situation where I didn't have a say.
You definitely are a seeker. I remember so much, like, I don't know, I don't know the exact year, but you were young and you were like, reading the Bhagavad Gita. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry.
Gita, yeah.
And then you were doing Buddhism, and then you were doing, you were just all over the place.
But to talk about Buddhism, you know what? Buddhism came to me, I want to say the second year in high school or the first year in high school. A teacher was talking about different like holy books of different religions. And I love to read. So I was like, you know what, let me check out the library and see if they have one of these. I credit Buddhism for calming my ass down, because I was super crazy, super angry, just super fed up with the world, and to the core of it is I was tired of people telling me who I was and what I should believe, because in my, 14-year-old infinite wisdom was like, what the hell do any of you know? Like this,
that is pretty wise, though. That is wise.
But I realized that human beings had a blind spot, and that blind spot was pretty damn big.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of opinions thrown into that blind spot and a lot of ignorance, because not everybody was a seeker. And there was a lot of non-seekers trying to tell me that I shouldn't be a seeker. And just fundamentally, titans clashed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about it too, in the sense that like we all came here, this is my personal belief. Like, I'm not pushing this on anybody. So,
no,
but,
believe what you want to believe. Vibrate what vibes with you.
We all come here, many lifetimes ago with a mission. And so, some of us are really, really old and have many lives. And we figured out like, oh, okay, I'm here. I'm in this school. I have to, like learn these lessons. And you have your, and then you talk about like when you're on this actual plane and you're like a little kid and this adult is telling you, X, Y, and Z. And you're like, I'm thousands of years old.
Yeah, like I'm older than you, bro. What the hell you know?
And so I get it. I get that, like you're just naturally going to, oh man, I'm like, I've got a spirit in the room, and it's just like I'm getting chills right now.
Oh, I know. I feel her through Zoom.
You feel her?
Yes.
I'm getting like absolutely like chills right now.
I felt her right before you brought her up. I was like, whoa, she's coming in hot. But back to your point, at that time when I had dipped my toe into Buddhism, I had come across a book written by the Dalai Lama, and I have told so many people over the years to get this book. It was truly transformational for me. It was called Healing Anger,
Mm-hmm.
and it just spoke about where anger comes from and what anger does to your body and to your soul, and that it basically creates, you know, so much density that you're not able to ascend and vibrate higher and gain consciousness and enlightenment in, you know, in the Buddhist perspective. You can't get there because you're so weighted down like an anchor, because that anger is the anchor. And I remember that actually something traumatic happened during that time with a family member of ours. I'm not naming names.
Mm-hmm.
This person had heard that I was getting into Buddhism. This person is a very, very, very fundamental Christian person.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that this person came over my house. It was a family member, and it came with the little like cartoon pamphlets that they give out at some churches, and put it down in front of me and said, "You need to be saved. You know, you're talking to the devil. You're going down a bad path." And I remember, you know, I said some colorful things. You know, I apologize for that in
You
my
were young.
14-year-old ignorance.
Yeah.
And anger. Remember, I was super angry back then.
Yeah.
I said some choice words, and it stuck with me because it was traumatic. It solidified in my heart, my soul, my mind that I was not accepted everywhere. And that weighed on me for such a long time. It made me feel unacceptable. It made me feel like no matter what I do, that people were not going to receive me in the way that I wanted to be received. So that was very transformational for me, because I waited, you know, I let it get to me at a core for a couple of years. And then by the time I was in my late teens, I decided, you know what? Nobody has to love me because I love myself. And if people want to tell me who I am, they could do that all day long because they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it really like gave me such a fever to just, and a license to just do whatever I wanted to do. And it really just, then I had like a complete explosion of ideas and went with it and started practicing all sorts of traditions and learning and studying and absorbing. But it was that traumatic experience that really set me up on the course that I'm on, you know.
You learned so much. Yeah.
It still
That's
kind of
incredible.
bothers me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it might bother you, but like you think about it, that probably had to happen. You know, that probably was a spark that got you where you needed to go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, you know, there's one side of that event, and then there's this other side, which is like the genesis of everything that you needed to become. You know,
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
pretty incredible when you think about it. You know, like when you think about like who these people are who come in and irritate the hell out of you in your life, that they might be there for this, you know, grand reason.
Yeah, well, that particular family member, you know, I to this day, I kind of feel sorry for them, because I feel like they live a life that's been dictated to them by somebody else. They're playing by somebody else's rules, and they're not allowed to think outside of the box for fear that the box is going to fall apart. Whereas they gave me the license to blow it up, the box up with dynamite and light it on fire.
Fucking life is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really amazing. We have free will, right? So we make these choices for ourselves. And honestly, like I see so much beauty in both sides of this, you know, like I really do. I see so much like, okay, this is just my Aquarian, like,
oh, get all Aquarius, baby.
My Aquarian Libra going like, oh, yeah, too much, right? So I wanted to
go with it.
Yeah, we're gonna go with it. I wanted to talk about like, so, you know, I sort of like ungracefully stumbled over my childhood, like, you know, era and what that was like. And I just remember like one of the first things, and I thought this was really funny because this is not who I am right now at all, but like what kind of like moved me away from, you know, just feeling like in a place of stuckness with this dichotomy of this, you know, witch and Christianity upbringing, you know, kind of like butting up against each other, was The Secret. You remember that book?
Oh, I remember that book. I have to say, The Secret, they are on point about what they're saying. It's just the packaging is mad corny.
Like, oh my God. Yeah.
You know, like if they did a little bit better with the packaging, it would have been bigger than it was.
You know, and it's the message too, because like, I really feel like you can manifest. I've been working on manifestation for a long time. And I think I've gotten pretty good at it. But one of the basics is that some things you're just not supposed to have. And those things won't manifest easily at all. You know, and The Secret makes it seem like, oh, I want a Ferrari. I'm going to think of a Ferrari and it'll pop in my driveway. You know, like I really literally think they said that in one of their chapters, you know, like think about a cup, you know, like, okay, everybody can have a cup of coffee.
That's some Harry Potter shit.
You know, some people are just not meant to be like super wealthy. And I feel like that's what people think that manifesting is. And sometimes it can be about like monetary stuff. I did like an amazing manifestation over the summer. And I've manifested a car, you know, but not like a crazy expensive car.
No, but that's not what you need. You know, a lot of people don't realize that you get placed in many lifetimes throughout your incarnations, and some people need to have a lifetime of suffering in order to understand that plight. You know, if you were always rich like a king in every lifetime, there's a lot of lessons that you don't learn. You don't learn how to be resourceful. You don't learn how to make something out of nothing. You don't know, you don't learn how to be scrappy. You don't learn empathy to other people in bad situations. You know, you don't know what it feels like to literally have to go without food because your kids need to eat. You know?
Exactly. And it's really tough to be able to have to face that and to, you know, if this is the lifetime that you're living right now, that, you know, you have to experience limitation and learn how to work with limitation. You know, you can find freedom in working through limitation. Like you find like, you know, I love, you know, where I am kind of economically because of that. Like I'm comfortable, but I experience this limitation, and honestly, it's fucking amazing. I'm sorry for cursing twice.
And I think there's a lot to say about living richly. There's a lot of people, a lot of indigenous people, that they may not have a lot of possessions, but their spirit is rich.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like you learn different types of, you know, different facets of it. So I do think The Secret is really kind of great in a way, in its own, you know, like if you're able to like take away the shininess of what they're suggesting and look at like more of the basic stuff.
I think we should rewrite it. We should call it the Boricua Secret, you know?
Maybe. We'll talk
Heels,
about it.
hopes, and dreams.
There you go. You're so good at coming up with that kind of stuff on the fly. I love it. I love it. I'm thinking of another one right now that I won't say. But yeah. So what else after? So tell me more about like where, you know, we seem to be going on a story trajectory here.
Definitely.
So where were you next?
So I transitioned to Buddhism. I got pretty into it for quite some time. There was a lot of other bad stuff going on in that, and during that time for me, outside of a spiritual means, which really did shape me as well. Once I actually got into my early 20s, I had a spot of atheism because of these situations, which was really weird. Like I have always had witchcraft. Like I found witchcraft very early, like in middle school. Like it came to me and it was always on the peripheral. We grew up in a psychic family. And so that during my time of atheism, This stuff was still going on. I was still, very much practicing, witchcraft to manifest things. But it wasn't on a spiritual level. I wasn't there yet.
Yeah. This is more like the movie The Craft type.
Yes,
level,
it was.
Okay.
Well, it was deeper than that, but not much deeper.
Okay.
But
you can also you can be a witch and be atheist, though.
Yes.
Right?
You can. It's just there's issues that arise. I speak from experience.
Okay.
During that time, none of my magic was working. Mm-hmm. And I think that added into my atheism at the time. I was questioning everything. I felt that God was dead because I was dead on the inside. And there was a lot of chakra blockages going on. My energy was not working right. I had just gotten out of an extremely bad relationship. And I was just at this point where I was like, you know what the hell am I doing here? And I lost faith. And I stayed like that for a while. And, and I was getting frustrated because things just weren't working at that point in my life. Then I happened to meet my husband. We were not married at the time. We were just together. And it was a little bit weird for me because I hid the magical side of me from him for a while, because he's very Catholic, and so is his family. So I really, kind of shut the door on my practice for a while. And I and it's not because he made me or anything like that. It's just, I didn't have the vocabulary to explain what I was doing. I don't think that he understood at the time that I was a seeker, and that finding answers was just, in my coded DNA. Like, it's just who I am. And so I studied a little bit during that time in secret, reading books here and there, not really reading it in front of him, like really close the door on a lot of things. And I stayed that way for a while. During that time, we got together, whatever. There's a couple of years, things progressed, a couple of years fast forward. And once we got married, a couple months later, I got sick. And that started me on the ride of my life. I completely got depressed, shut everybody out, stopped talking to people, cut all of my friends off, cut most of my family off. I felt like I died. I felt like I decided, you know what, I'm going to be in pain for the rest of my life. And I was grappling with that. It's one thing to say those words. It's another to hear them said to you, is that you will never be able to run a marathon. You'll never be able to wear 7-inch high heels. You'll never be able to, walk more than, a half a block. You're going to be in agony every day of your damn life. That put me in a downward spiral. And I went really, really deep in myself, and I stayed there dormant for a couple years.
Yeah.
Then I had my children, and the first child that I had, really, I had to open up. It was very hard, because at that point there was like this really thick shell that I built around myself. And I credit him for waking me back up, my beautiful baby. He made me realize, like, I can't be dead anymore, because what kind of parent would that be for this kid? If I'm not emotionally available, if I'm like bedridden and depressed every day, like, he's not getting the real me. He's getting the broken me. And it pushed me to wake back up. And then I had my second child, and I had a lot of weird shit happen after I had him. I started getting all these different spirits coming to me, and they were not leaving me alone. They were insistent. I had the ancestors come to me on a few occasions in dreams and in meditations, and they told me, you have work to do. You can't you can't leave yourself for dead. That's unacceptable. Like, yeah, we had to wake you up on your path, but now it's work time. Like, come on, girl, get up. And so, you know, I started to read. That's where I dipped my toe in. I was like, you know, I had blocked the spirits out during that point when I was dead, you know?
Yeah, right.
And they were still there. I could feel them, but I was pushing them away, just like I pushed everybody else away.
Right.
And my second son, really, he was, first of all, he's a Pisces. So, and I'm a Capricorn, so this is a whole nother vibe. He's super loving and super emotional and wants to talk about it. You know, rainbows.
He wants to talk about it.
Yeah, that's him. You know him.
He does. And that's so like, that's a growth challenge.
Yes.
That was a growth challenge for you.
Yes. And, you know, this child, he is the type of light that brightens even the darkest rooms, whether they want it or not. Mm-hmm. And he really, like, he's a magical child. They both are in their own ways, but they both gave me gifts. You know, one made me realize that I needed to address my issues and stop with the nonsense. And the other one woke me up magically and made me realize that, yes, I have to open up, but now it's not just for me, it's for them. You know, I never wanted them to remember the sad mommy. I wanted them to remember just mommy. Mm-hmm. And through that experience, through finding my routine, my daily routine, it's brought me closer and more aligned than I've ever been. And it's opened up so many doors, like I said, I didn't even know were there.
Yeah.
And
right.
I realize now that this whole story from beginning to end and all the pieces that are missing and all the pieces that are here brought me to where I'm now where I'm standing now. And it was horrible in a lot of chapters. It was gut-wrenching in other chapters. It was depressing and soul-shaking. It was happy. It was joyful. You know, it was numb. There were so many different stages and sub-stages and steps that I took to get here. And it made me a warrior. It made me know what I'm made of. I know that anytime that there's an issue that I can handle it no matter what it is, you know, especially if people tell me I can't do something, then I'm just going to show you. I'm going to do it and with class and on parade, you know, and it made me realize that I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight back. I'm going to do everything I can to find alignment. And I'm going to make God proud, because not only is God out here, God's within. I had to realize that I was God itself.
That's beautiful. I think a beautiful, beautiful ending to our show tonight, right?
Definitely. You know, sorry guys, it's a little long, but you know, it's a long story. Maybe we'll do a chapter 2, you know, coming maybe down the line to fill in some of these blanks, and I'll tell you about my foray into Judaism.
We'll get deeper, yeah.
And Celtic Wicca, because that was a fun chapter. But yeah, we really hope you guys enjoyed tonight's long extended journey. You know, life has lots of twists and turns, so you know it was gonna be long. Make sure that you guys like, follow, and subscribe at Rebel Crow Psychic Show. We do a podcast every week. Y'all already know. It's on YouTube. It's on all major podcasting platforms. If you would like to have a reading with me, Athena Silver, I do tarot readings, mediumship readings, and spiritual cleansings. You can find me. My website is readingswithathenasilver.com. My Instagram is athena.silver. My Facebook is Readings with Athena Silver. And my TikTok is Athena_Silver. What about you, Anja?
I am on Facebook and Instagram at Anja River, ANJARIVER. And you can contact me there if you'd like a tarot reading.
Definitely. And just so you guys know, if you haven't been on our social media at all, we're going to be doing psychic fairs and stuff and virtual events. So make sure you check out our website, rebelcrowpsychicshow.com is up above. And just, we have a list of events that you can see us at, you know, virtually right now. But when we get back, you know, when we get back into public, it'll be in person again. But anyway, we love you. We wish you nothing but peace and blessings. And we will catch you guys next week. Have a good night.
Bye.